What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Session 14. Um, the first thing I wanted to work on this morning was kind of gluing all these pads together and working on, excuse me, just working on the width and the stereo field, and might play around with some mid-side stuff to try to get some bass overlap taken care of. So there's like a good bit of bass stuff happening here. Um, Between the power cords and this bass pad, and then the actual bass, it's a lot of low end. I'm not hearing like too much mud on my end yet or anything, but I feel like there's probably room to clean it up considering we haven't even attempted it yet. So let's um let's loop this part right here. And I want to open up that new Maag compressor that I got from Plug-in Alliance. It is the Magnum K. And let's just play around with this. We're going to solo this bus up here. Let's see what we can do sound-wise with this. Alright, just for the heck of it, I'm gonna try something else, because I'm just like not, I don't even, maybe I'm not even like hitting the, maybe I'm not even hitting the compressor yet. I mean, it sounds better, but I'm not sure I did any compression, because I don't see any gain reduction here. Hmm. I just don't, I'm not hearing a lot of action on that, so let's just try something different just to see what's going on here. This is also a new plugin I just got, so neither of these I've ever used before. not hearing it like I was yesterday. Um, just feel like a little like all over the place. Let's see here. I emailed someone on Facebook Marketplace last night who's selling like a $40 trumpet, and I'm really thinking about just buying a couple brass instruments and figuring out how to play them again, just so I don't have to use a like a horns, orchestra VST or something. Um, I just find it so much easier to, because I can hear the dynamics. I've listened to enough trumpet playing in my life that I know what I want in terms of, you know, sounds, the trumpet kind of blasting through a part and then kind of softly coming through, and all those different dynamics. I find it hard to capture. It just requires like a lot of nitty gritty detail, like on a computer, and I just want to hear it and call it good. So that might be an option. I've also had every single Tom microphone package in my like ready to check out in the last 24 hours. At one point, I've had you know, I had the Audix D2s, three of them in a pack. That was like $3.99. Then I had the Sennheiser 604s. That was about the same price. Then I had the Audix F series, and then I read that that was garbage. Um, and then I had the PGA 56, but I hear they're boxy, and I hear that, or at least I read that sometimes there's a vibration that goes up the rim mount into the plastic casing of the microphone, which gives a wonky tone. I read that on an Amazon review. Um, so I think I'm back to just getting another SM57 since I already have that, calling it good. I kept thinking it would be really nice to have three tom microphones, use one on the snare, the SM57 on the bottom of the snare, um, or vice versa, and then the two on the toms. So I kept leaning towards that three pack. But if I just do SM57s, I can literally just have two of them. I could still mic the snare in two spots, and then I could just, I'm not performing a full take on the drums at any time right now. So um, I could just use two of them, one on each tom, and go through and just play the two toms where I see fit in the song and call it good. So I think I might do that just to save money, uh, because my family may be doing a big relocation soon. We shall see. Actually, I don't think there's much to see. It's probably happening. So I'm probably going to head back out to the West Coast. It's been 13 years, I think. 2012 to 2023, 11 years. Um, it's been a long time that we've been gone. And my wife's looking for a new job. And so we might just get the girls out with the majority of their grandparents. Um, so that could be big coming up in the next couple months here, but we're going to keep plugging away. And I've already set a goal. I was like, this song better be done by the time I leave the state of New York. So we're going to make that happen. Um, Sometimes when I get into these phases when I'm like having trouble getting, compression to work, like I often don't think about just the coloring of the sound. Like the thing is that might not actually need compression. It's so light. If you look at the sound waves, I'm like convincing myself right now too. There's not a whole lot there to compress. There's not. It's like I need to remember what the tool is supposed to do here. It's supposed to smash highs and lift the lows and get to a more stable, uh, you know, a more stable sound wave that doesn't have so much dramatic dynamics. So, and I'm looking, when you just look at this file, there's nothing really high transient wise, and there's nothing really low. It's pretty consistent. So it might not need compression. We might just be looking for color on something like that, which is why maybe the Maag isn't a great choice compared to like the Opticom. Excuse my yawn. Um, so I need to think in terms of that. I also want to, at some point, I really need to grab a piece of paper and, do a diagram. It'd be cool if I could do it on screen. I'll have to experiment with that. Just to kind of, I've always envisioned this, and this has probably been made up because, like, I'm not like genius or anything, obviously, but like I like to think in terms of like an XY graph, and on the x-axis is your panning, or your stereo width, I should say. So the center to left and right. And then on the y-axis is the frequency range. So your bass tones are going to be center and the bottom of the y-axis, and then something is going to be your kick and your bass are here, your snare's a little higher, but it's still centered. Maybe your hi-hats and ride are here. You have some instruments here, and then you have the pads and stuff are going to be working up here. The problem is that I like to put bass pads in too to fill out between, so I'm having trouble figuring out where that should be. Or if I really I shouldn't have a bass pad, and I need to stop thinking of it in that way. You know what I mean? Um, because it might just be too much, but I love, that Moog filter sound is just something I love, and I want it to be there. What did I have it sidechained to? Yeah, see, that's really what I want. Is I envision the kick side chaining my bass, and then my bass side chaining the bass pad. And that way that Moog filter sound comes in and fills out the gaps in the bass track, um, without overwhelming the place. It's like in my brain, the way I always envisioned it. Um, if you are sitting there on your end and you're more experienced than me, and you're going, dude, you need to lose something, leave me a comment, man. Let me know. Um, because I've long felt like maybe I'm doing things that might not work, but at the same time, you listen to that and it's like you can hear everything. let's change gears for a minute here and take a little break from that. I want to go back to the guitars we were working on yesterday. And I can still get this. I fortunately was starting to do better documentation of things. At the last time I was working on this song, and I saved on the files the patch setting that I was using on the Abasi amp. So I might just go and take out that funky Corey Wong amp and just try our bridge amp. Just so there's not too many sounds, too many different sounds. I've never been like I imagine myself as like a big pedal board guy. And I guess that could always change, but I just like to keep like a limited palette a little bit. So if we could already make use of something in the bridge, it seems a little more cohesive to have that same setting play elsewhere in the song rather than having a third and then a fourth guitar amp setting. I imagine in a live recreation, whether or not that ever happens, who knows? But I imagine in a live recreation, that's a lot of switching to be doing back and forth of stuff. And yeah, I'm just not sure I would want that. So let's mute the Corey amp, open up this one, and find that setting. Factory, clean my soul. I probably won't have the echoes and stuff right, like, or the delay, I should say, but should be close. Well, hmm. Well, I don't feel like I've gotten much done today. And then my feeling is like, oh, you should just delete this whole video. But the truth is that I think this is it, man. I think this is mixing and this is writing and recording and being artistic is some days it's not as productive as the day before, you know? Um, but I don't feel like we made anything worse. I just not sure I feel like we're any closer to done today. Um, so yeah, I think you just gotta live with it. And I think I'll just call that a session here, and then I might just start another one right after. I might take a couple minutes and kind of regroup my brain and come back and figure out something, more of a defined objective. Um, it's hard when I know that I need to track things and I can't. Feel like I need to have all the pieces there before I start mixing. I think that's the problem. Today was mixing and the song's not even done. And so whatever you think you're mixing right now is probably going to change once you add, toms and the cymbals get redone. Because I'm still listening to that chorus and it's just weak, man. It's so weak and it needs to be big and bad. And um, what I wanted to do, well, I got an idea. Just real quick. I think one of the things that I've been struggling with when it comes to like big brass stabs and stuff, I think that's what they're called in the EDM mixing universe. I think I'm just missing big reverbs. So maybe let's just, before we go, just see if we can make this sound like bigger, there's too much sustain. It needs to be more like a gated reverb effect, I think. Um, I want it to be really sharp and then just like and have the sound it like it's in a giant space. Um, so I guess what we're looking for then is the reverb to decay pretty fast, like the main part of it, but to start out very heavy. So where are large chamber? Like that just like sounds awful to me. It's not at all what I'm going for on the song. Um, yeah, let's actually I'll call it quits right now and I'll play around with this before you sit here and watch me twist knobs with no real goal in mind. Um, and I think if I start to get on something, I'll just jump back on. I'll just hit record, and that way I could show you guys because I want to detail, any positive progress for sure. I want to capture, but I think it's important that I post today's video, just so someone younger than me or someone starting off they're earlier in their progression, um, can see that this is how it goes for at least one guy. um, and if it's for me, if it's like that for me, I'm sure it's like that for someone else. I mean, 7 billion people on earth, you can't have a thought and then Google it and not find someone else who's had the same thought pretty much. So yeah, I hope you guys have a killer Sunday if we don't do anything more today. And we'll see you back tomorrow at the latest. thanks so much for watching, and like and subscribe to the video. I also started a Patreon channel. Um, so you could check that out, patreon.com, Creatures of the Edge. Um, it's you got to have 1,000 subscribers from YouTube before you can start to monetize this, and that is the goal. I'm not gonna lie, it would be great to have a little bit of income, and I figure if someday in the future, if I have 500 subscribers and they each give me $1 a month, it'll be about what I was making at the end of when I was working at the liquor store in my town, like the wine and liquor store, for the last 6 or 7 months. So I actually just stopped, and it would pretty much supplement that. So you know what I mean? Very small. Uh, I only put a $2 tier on there right now, I think. So you can check it out. If not, no worries. I don't have anything to offer you special right now, anyways, and usually that's the gig. I'm a patron to several people myself, so sometimes they'll send you a shirt, or you'll get content that isn't being posted right now. I'm posting everything I do, you know, uh, for anyone who wants to see it. So at some point, I could imagine having something a little more exclusive for patrons, but I'll have to come up with that. So you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you back soon. Thanks so much for hanging out.